All right, looks like we are live. Welcome, everybody. I am here joined with Vickie Coleman with
Mhm.
Front Porch Partners of Real Brokerage. And Vickie is a local realtor here in town who has also really stepped up in the community to bring two organizations or two groups together, Grow and Salt. And today we're going to talk about Grow and Salt and how, people in the real estate space, local businesses, there's also some nonprofit opportunity to really come together as a community through these through Grow and Salt and how that can be a benefit. But before we get into that, Vickie, I would love for you just to share a little bit more about yourself and your background and give an introduction.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate it. I appreciate this opportunity and getting to know you. Gosh, what I feel like I got introduced to you about a month ago, and we've become. I told like we were talking yesterday. I said I feel like we're kindred souls in a lot of ways. But
Yeah.
thank you for this opportunity. I think this platform that you're growing in Richmond is going to be amazing for the realtor and for the homeowners. They were super excited about that. Um, yeah. So I don't forgot what was the question. You want to know a little bit more about me?
Yeah, share us, tell us all the details.
Yeah, all the details. Well, we won't go. We won't do all that, but we'll start. We'll do a little bit. But yeah, I've lived in Richmond for about I think 29 years now, and I'm a native of Georgia. And if you can't tell, I've kind of outgrown my Southern accent a little bit. It does come out every once in a while. But yeah, just married to my high school sweetheart Marty, and we've known each other since we were 10 years old. And we just felt a calling years ago. We felt a calling that we were supposed to be in Richmond, Virginia. And we definitely have been blessed to be here. We've raised both of our daughters here, and they're grown now, both married. We have two grandsons. And yeah, and I've been in real estate for this is my 11th year. And as I was telling you before, I homeschooled both of our daughters from the time they started school until the time they graduated from high school. And I felt like that was my calling at the time. And when the last one went away to college, I said, well, what am I going to do? And I always loved real estate and always helped, friends find houses. I loved to go to open houses, and just decided that was the new career path for me. And like I
Awesome.
told you, when we were talking earlier, it has given me a path to my purpose. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but definitely I see God's hand all over me being a real estate agent and being in this space for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'm also from the country, from
Okay.
Southwest Virginia,
Yeah.
and got a little bit of that mountain twang still
Mhm.
left in me. But once you
Yeah.
move to Richmond, you do tend to lose that accent a
Just a
little
little
bit,
bit.
just a little bit. Very cool. Well, I love that you're stepping up to be also such a, we were talking about earlier about real estate agents and
Mhm.
and being such a connector in the community.
Mhm.
And I think it's a good transition in talking about
Yeah.
Grow and Salt, because that really is such a way to connect the community together. So let's start with Grow. I want to ask you about Grow. What is Grow? And start off with just giving an overview of what Grow is for the
Okay.
community.
Okay. Well, we started Grow about it was 3 years ago. This January is 3 years ago. And Grow stands for Giving Relationships Opportunities to Win. And it's about, just connecting, supporting each other, businesses. And, it's not your traditional networking group. We meet I'll go through that later, but we meet twice a month in the different groups. We have three groups around Richmond. We have one that meets in Ashland, Midlothian, and one in New Kent. And we are getting ready to start one in Richmond, but I'm not really going to be heading that one up. And I have another person that wants to get that one started. And I'm not really even sure about the dates yet, but I know they'll have an informational meeting coming up on March 11th. But it's not your traditional networking. And if you think about, I like to I tell people all the time, Grow is like a group of people sitting around the table, or like a dysfunctional family sitting around the dinner table.
Yep.
We just have fun, and we don't, it's not formal. It's very collaborative. There'll be times when, someone might come to the meeting and, they just have an idea for their business, or, they want to, do something new in their business. And so we talk about that. We kind of roundtable it. And it's a fun, that's fun. Like I said, we just have a lot of fun, and we support each other. We do refer business to each other, but it's not a mandatory thing that you do that. It's sort of a, you earn the right to maybe get that opportunity to refer someone or them refer you by getting to know who they really are. I know in real estate, I don't want to just send anybody to a seller or a buyer. Like, who are you? And I need to take the time to get to know who you are. But just because you show up and fill a seat doesn't mean I'm going to send a client to you. But most of the time it does happen that way. And I just, we take the time to get to know each other. And yeah, that's a good overview, a good start. There's more specifics to it, but that's certainly a good overview of what we do.
Yeah, I love it. And I just wanted to just take a moment because I know we've got a couple people that have joined watching the live stream.
Okay.
Feel free to ask questions, drop some comments in. Just full disclosure, this is the first time I've used StreamYard in a long time. So if I can't get your question up, I'll figure it out. But please, this is an engaging session. I would love to hear from people that are watching. One thing that you mentioned about, go ahead. You look at your head.
I was just going to say the other piece, I completely just, forgot to say this, but the other piece of Grow is that each quarter, I don't know why I'm just like, went right over, but each quarter we do, we sponsor a local nonprofit. Yes. And usually they're one of the smaller nonprofits that need a little bit of extra attention, put on them. And, we support them through, we ask on the honor system. There are no fees to join Grow. There's no fee to be a part of Grow, but we ask on the honor system that whatever group you decide that's your home group, that you would donate $75 a quarter to that nonprofit, whichever one we're supporting for that. And each Grow group supports their own local nonprofit. And we look for ways to support them during that quarter, whether it's an event, golf tournament, whether we're helping sponsor it, maybe through our businesses, or just giving them shout outs on social media. It's sometimes they just need extra attention. There's our man, Jeff Zielinski. I just saw him jump on. He's a big part of Grow. Yeah, so that's just one way that we get more connected to the community and help grow the community and give back to the community.
Yeah. I love that aspect of it. The nonprofits have such a powerful way of bringing it together to the community too. I know you recently had Stephanie Becker from Better Together, who's amazing. I love Stephanie, and she puts on a lot of great events for the community and has such an important mission too around how she supports these families with children with these rare illnesses. So yeah, that's really great that you bring that dynamic into what you're doing with the group. One follow-up question I
had never heard of Worth Days. Have you ever heard of Worth Days? It's another local nonprofit. And excuse me, I feel like I interrupted you. There was a little bit of a delay there, but yeah. So Worth Days is the nonprofit that this quarter the Midlothian group is sponsoring, and that's the Worth Days is. You're worth something, and your special day, your birthday, they try to make that a very special day for these people. And, it's people that are in the foster care system and haven't been adopted. And so just a few days ago, we delivered a gift from our Midlothian group, a birthday gift for an 18-year-old girl who's actually graduating out of the foster care system. So we got a gift for her. We kind of set her up with a basket, almost like a new homeowner, because she's graduating out of the program. And, but just, things like that. I didn't even know about Worth Days, and that's such a worthwhile, cause and an opportunity that's so easy for any business owner, any person to do and support our Richmond community that way.
For sure.
Yeah.
I do have a follow-up question for you on Grow. You had mentioned that, we have Ashland, Midlothian, and New Kent, and then potentially a new one starting in Richmond.
Right.
If somebody wanted to, if somebody wanted to start a group and, in a different area, what would be, what's the process to that, requirements is, if somebody wanted to help expand this?
Right. Well, reach out to me, and, you can call me, you can reach out to me on Facebook, you can message me, email me. And, I don't know if you can drop that information in at the end of during this. I don't know how live stream works, but, anyway, you can reach out to me or reach out to Jake, and he can get in touch with me either way. and we just have a conversation. And it's about your heart. It's about, can you give that commitment? We've had several people want to start groups over the years, and it just didn't work out. And not because they didn't know what they were doing or whatever, but it was a time commitment. I run 2 of the groups, and we have 3 groups. I go to all 3 of the groups that we have currently, and 2 of those I run those groups. And there's follow up to it. There's getting the emails out ahead of time and making sure people know when we're meeting. Keeping up with social media, and sometimes it's a little exhausting for me. And I'm passionate about it, but it can be a little bit overwhelming at times. And I realize that I can't take on any more groups. That's why the one that is starting in Richmond, I just can't. I don't have the bandwidth to do that myself. Yeah. But it's just a conversation. And I would come to your first meeting. You have an informational meeting. You get maybe 4 or 5 business owners that want to help you get it started. I'll come to the first meeting, kind of help you guys, give you the guidelines, and we'll get it kicked off. It's really not hard. It's more about the commitment and the heart. That's what it comes to. Mm-hmm.
For sure. I'm going to throw this at the bottom. Okay. It's got a little banner here. It says, reach out to Vickie, and it's got your email address, if that's okay. And we'll just let that scroll. That way, as people are watching and they do want to reach out to you, they can jot down your email address and reach out. Okay. Let's move on to SALT. Okay. So I think we had a really good overview of Grow. We're moving on to SALT. So same question. Tell me about SALT. I know this is something you're bringing to Richmond, right? And would love to hear, give us the rundown about SALT and what this is, what that represents.
Well, SALT, actually, our first meeting is this Thursday, the 5th, March the 5th at 11 o'clock at Gather in the Buffalo Room. And SALT stands for Servant Agents Leading Together. So if you are a real estate agent in the Richmond area, or you're in I call it the real estate space, if you're a vendor and you work with real estate agents, we would love to have you join us. It is a faith-based group. And maybe, or even if you're just exploring faith, or you want to learn how to build your business from a place of faith, and just, get to know other people that are doing that. How do you do that? Our first, we have a speaker. It's actually my husband speaking at the one Thursday. He has been a corporate chaplain for 29 years. That's one of the reasons God called us to Richmond. And, he's going to speak it just about living out your faith in the workplace. What does that look like? And I know for real estate, people have asked me before, how do you do both? I mean, how do people know, how can you be a Christian and be a real estate agent, or how do you bring that into your business? And, for me, sometimes it's just a simple thing as looking at someone and go, you know what? I'm going to pray about this with it. I'll pray for you now. I'll pray for you about this. And sometimes people say, well, you pray now. Will you just pray for us now because we didn't get the house, or the house isn't selling. And, there's a reason. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And sometimes there's a pause, and there's a pause for a reason. And maybe that wasn't meant to be, and it wasn't the time. And it's hard. It's hard to wait. And that's a whole nother, as a person of faith, just that waiting sometimes can cause you to have doubt and disbelief and think, what is wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Why is God not answering my prayer? But it's just not, I think a lot of times I don't think I know that I bring a calmness to things, and I bring that reassurance that it's going to be okay, and I think that as realtors, it's not always about getting the house, selling the property. Well, it is about selling the property, but it's not always for us about selling, if that makes sense. It's about what we bring to the table as well, what we bring to the table. And for me, that's more important than the transaction. It's that relationship and how I react to situations, how I, help somebody through something that might not be going the way they think it's supposed to be going. It's going to be okay. And I feel like I bring that calmness, I really do. And I think that comes from years of just being a mom, being a wife of, I'm married to probably one of the calmest people in the world, and the most patient person. And I'm not naturally that way. I am a very, high strung person. I love people, I love being around people. I get my energy from people. So I just go, I can go 90 to nothing. But I've learned over the years, as I've observed people like my husband and others that have mentored me, that stepping back sometimes and just looking at the big picture and
Mhm.
going and pulling from life experience, that it's all going to be okay. It's going to be fine. So I think I got way off on the whole salt thing. So I apologize. But salt is for realtors and people in the real estate space that want to build their businesses from a place of faith. And if they are people of faith, how they bring that to the business.
Yeah.
That's, and when we get together, I mean, we have special speaker, we may talk about it. We have a topic, we have prayer requests, we even have praise and worship music. And so it's just a time for us to, sort of recommit and re-energize ourselves, and just support each other.
Yeah.
And this business can be tough. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
off on topic.
No, that was beautiful. I just wanted to add one thing to
Yeah.
what you said that I thought was really special is and this particularly shows up in real estate.
Mm,
I know it showed up for me actually when and I won't get to all the story details, but my very, very first like step into building a house.
yeah.
This was years ago, and I had a really bad thing that had happened. And in the moment, it's like anytime there's something that really, really bad happens or it's unfavorable, it's really hard for you to see beyond the negative
Yeah.
in that moment. And I feel like faith has a way of kind of rebalancing you and
Absolutely.
keeping you focused on what matters and giving you the heart to know that things
Mhm.
are going to work out the way it needs to. And
Absolutely.
and if you and the other thing too is we're probably going to derail into like a whole nother conversation here, but I just love this, in terms of, those moments when you do have those negative things happen. If you look at your life, and I look at like my life right now, my kids, my family, everything being here in Richmond, if that really bad thing never happened back in 2010 with
Mm,
that real estate deal,
mhm.
I would still be living in Roanoke. I'm not saying my life would be better or worse, but it wouldn't be what it is today.
Right.
And I'm very grateful for what I have today. And you can trace things back to some of these negative
Oh, yeah.
experiences. Like, you know what? God did have the plan that I
Mhm,
couldn't see it at the time,
mhm.
but your faith gives you the ability to trust and know that it's going into direction. And you don't have to have all the certainty and everything figured out.
Right. That's right.
Um,
That's right.
so,
Well,
and I feel like,
if you've lived long enough, and I forget the name of that, book. It was from back in the '90s. Oh my goodness, not The Purpose Driven Life, but there was another one. Basically, I think it was Henry Blackaby. I can see the author, but I can't think of the name of his book. But
mhm,
how you can go back and trace your life and trace where you saw God in your life, like, and you can
yeah,
pull from those. As you get older, you have more of those experiences where God answered a prayer, but he may not have answered it the way you thought you wanted, or how you wanted him to answer it, but he answered it a different way than you even prayed for, you know?
mhm,
But you can go back and go, he's got me. He's got me, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I feel like salt really embodies that.
Yeah.
We had that we had their first or your first informational
Mhm.
meeting,
Mhm.
and, went pretty deep. Like we had some really strong connection in the room,
Yeah.
and I felt the energy, and I just
Yeah.
it's one of those things we can't really. It's hard to explain. You just
It
kind of have
is.
to be there.
You just
So
have to be there. If that tugs at your heart, just come and find out. We're
yeah,
not gonna put you on the spot. It's not like that. We're not gonna, ask you to say anything that you don't wanna say. You don't have to say anything. It's just, it's a time, to really be encouraged and to be uplifted, and, and to collaborate. Like, there's gonna be that. Like, I sat with a girl after, a woman after our last meeting, or the informational meeting, just to help her do comps on a house she was getting ready to put on the market.
yeah,
We sat for and did that. So, we're going to encourage each other and be there for each other. And, so that's super important in this industry, to have each other's backs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
So, for getting involved with Salt or with
Mhm.
Grow, just reach
Mhm.
out to you. We got your email scrolling
Yes,
across the bottom. They can just send you an email. Any other thing about? I mean, I think
I
Salt.
think so.
It's once
Yeah,
a month as far as the logistics stuff. Like it's
once
once a
a month.
month.
Mhm. And
Cost
we're
to
still figuring out our location. As
okay,
of now, we're just like I said, we'll be at the Gather, next Thursday, but we're still looking for a permanent spot to,
okay,
so if anybody has any ideas, a place where we can have 20 to 25 people, during that 11, it runs about an hour and a half, so 11 to 12:30. If you know
okay,
of a space, please reach out to us and let us know.
okay. Great, perfect. So we're getting to the end here. I just want to wrap up with one final thought is if anybody who's watching in the real estate space, you want to have that conversation, anything meaningful, Vickie and I had a very brief call before this live stream just to kind of set the table a little bit about the direction we wanted to take the conversation, but really like I like keeping this very open ended and
Mhm.
letting the conversation go the way it did. And I really appreciate your time, Vickie,
Yeah,
today, and
appreciate
having
you.
that connection and being able to bring this to the table. I think a lot of people will I personally think a lot of people will find so much benefit from Grow and Saw and all the things you're doing to bring the community together, and it's important to have that and to get that out there for folks so they know where to go to get this support and get connection and get connected in
Mhm.
with people who are leading with their hearts
Right.
and bringing that value to the community. So, um,
I appreciate
uh,
you saying that. That means a lot. Just say I lead with my heart because I do feel that way. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Well, that is a good segue to the very last question. This is going to be the question. Anybody who decides to come on a live stream with me and have these conversations, I'm going to ask you one question, and that is,
Mhm.
what do you love most about what you do?
That is such a good question. I knew that was coming, so I've got to think about it a little bit. Honestly, Jake, I love what I do, because it's never just about the house for me, and it's about it's about the people. And I think I mentioned that to you earlier. I think when I got into this business, I thought it was about selling houses, but it's become so much more than that. It's more, it truly is about the people. It's given me the opportunity to live out my purpose and do what I love every single day. And I get to walk alongside someone during a big life transition and help them feel steady and confident in the process. And I love connecting people. I'm a connector, and people give me energy. I love encouraging people. I love creating community, whether that's in the real estate space or just at the table with one of my groups that I meet with. My faith truly shapes how I show up too. It really does. And I want to serve well, lead with integrity, treat people the way I want them to treat me and my family. And at the end of the day, it feels meaningful to me. And to know that I'm building relationships and living with a purpose, not just closing deals. That's truly the best way I think I could describe it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I did
That's
practice that a little bit. You told me it
that's
was coming,
fine.
but I said, I got to think that's a good question. I'm gonna think about that one. I love that
Well,
question.
I wanted to at least pre-frame it a little bit
Yeah.
because I think it's important to give yourself some time to kind of reflect on that because it's not,
Yeah.
you go to events or somebody's like, "Hey, what do you do?" You get the
Yep.
"What do you do?" and it's like, "Well, and here's the service and the thing."
Right. Right.
But what you love, by the way, I got that from Chris Voss, who
Okay.
is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
an FBI negotiator. That was he's like, ask people what they love about what they do, and you
Right.
get this completely different answer, and it really shows you more of who they are
Mhm.
and not just who they are, but how connected they are with the service that they've been called to do.
Yeah.
And I think it just shows you another dimension of the person behind
Mhm.
behind the surface level stuff that you get with the question of
Right.
what do you do, what do
Right.
you love about what you do. It gets you to the deeper
Exactly.
why.
Right.
So
It's a
I
good one.
appreciate it. It was very
Yeah.
very 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 good answer and and love the depth that you brought to it. So
Yeah. Thank you.
everybody, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and wrap up here. And if you were here live, Kelly Evans and Jeff Zielinski and anybody else who was here watching live, thank you so much. Of course, this is streaming to our YouTube page. So if you want to grab the archive and go back and rewatch it, I know sometimes social media likes to hide our content because it gets buried in the feed. But the RVA Homeowner YouTube page is there. So if you ever want to go back and rewatch this, it'll be living there. So thank you, Vickie, for being here and having the conversation, talking about grow and salt and all the amazing things you're doing. And that said, we're going to go ahead and sign off. We'll see you on the next one.
God bless. Bye-bye.